The distress beacon crackled through Maaya's workshop radio at 0300 hours, pulling her from a restless sleep. She groaned, rubbing her eyes as she listened to the automated coordinates. Deep forest. Middle of nowhere. Probably some idiot joyrider who'd crashed their hoverbike again. This better be worth it, she muttered, grabbing her toolkit and heading out into the cold earth night. The forest was dense, older than most colonies humanity had established across the stars. Maya's truck rumbled along the dirt path, headlights cutting through the darkness until she spotted it a ship. If you could even call it that. The thing looked like it had been cobbled together from scrap metal and prayer. Rust covered every surface, panels hung at odd angles, and one engine nacelle was held on with what appeared to be salvaged cargo strapping. "What a piece of junk," Maaya said aloud, stepping out of her truck. A figure emerged from behind the vessel, tall, humanoid but distinctly alien. His skin had a faint bluish tint under the moonlight, and his eyes held too many facets to be human. He wore robes that might have once been elegant, but were now tattered and stained with engine grease. "You are the mechanic?" he asked, his voice carrying an accent she couldn't place. "That's what the sign says." "Name's Maya." She approached the ship, circling it with a critical eye. "What happened here? Looks like this thing survived a war." "Several, actually," the alien said quietly. "My name is Ferret. I require your assistance. The hyperdrive coupling has failed, and the quantum stabilizers are—" "Whoa, hold up." Maya raised a hand. "Let's start with basics. Does it turn on?" Ferret blinked his multifaceted eyes slowly. "Yes. But, good. Pop the access panels. Let me see what we're working with." As Ferret opened the ship's exterior panels, Maya's professional eye began cataloging the damage. It was extensive. But underneath the rust and jerry-rigged repairs, she noticed something odd. The core components were ancient, far older than anything she'd seen in textbooks. And the craftsmanship, beneath all the improvised fixes, was extraordinary. "This design," she murmured, running her hand along a crystalline conduit. "I've never seen anything like it." "It is unique," Ferret said carefully. Maya pulled out her scanner and began diagnostics. The readings made no sense. The power core alone should have been impossible. It was generating energy at levels that would require a facility the size of a small moon. Yet here it was, crammed into a ship that looked like it belonged in a junkyard. "Okay, I can work with this," she said, rolling up her sleeves. "But it's gonna take a few hours. You got anywhere to be?" Ferret's expression was unreadable. "Time is flexible. Right. Weird alien guy in the woods. Why not?" What followed was the most challenging repair job of her life. The hyperdrive coupling wasn't just broken, it was held together with a fusion of 17 different technological traditions, none of which should have been compatible. Yet somehow, they worked. Maya found herself adapting, improvising, using techniques she'd never been taught but that somehow made sense. "Hand me the quantum wrench," she called out. "The what?" "That thing," she pointed without looking. "The one that looks like it phases in and out." Ferret handed it to her, watching with growing fascination as this human mechanic worked. She didn't just fix, she understood. She saw the underlying principles, the desperate ingenuity that had kept this ship flying through impossible circumstances. "You've been running from something," Maya said as she welded a stabilizer back into place. "Running for a long time." "Yes. Must be bad if you're flying a ship like this. No offense, but this thing's held together with hope and duct tape. None taken. It has served its purpose." Ferret paused. "May I ask, do you know who I am?" Maya glanced back at him, then shrugged. "Some guy named Ferret who needs his ship fixed. That's all I need to know." Something in Ferret's expression softened. "Yes. I suppose that is all that matters." 3 hours later, Maya sealed the final panel. Ferret entered the ship and initiated the startup sequence. The ancient vessel hummed to life, smoother than it had run in decades. The quantum stabilizers synchronized perfectly, and the hyperdrive coupling held steady. He emerged, and for the first time, Maya saw him smile. Remarkable. You have accomplished what court engineers across 1,000 worlds could not. Yeah, well, sometimes you just need someone who isn't afraid to get their hands dirty. She wiped grease from her forehead. That'll be 500 credits. Ferret reached into his robes and pulled out a small crystalline chip. I do not have credits. But I can offer you this. Maya examined the chip. Her scanner went haywire trying to analyze it. What is it? Knowledge. Technical specifications for technologies your species has not yet dreamed of. That's either the best tip I've ever gotten or you're completely insane. She pocketed the chip. I'm going with insane. For the record. Ferret laughed a sound like distant thunder. Perhaps both. Thank you. Maya, of Earth. You have done more than repair a ship tonight. You have reminded me why humanity deserves its place among the stars. We have a place among the stars. More than you know. More than I can say. He climbed back into the ship. One day, when you are old, and this world has changed beyond recognition, remember this night. Remember that the Galactic Emperor himself once stood in this forest, and a human mechanic treated him like any other customer in need. Maya froze. The what now? But the ship was already lifting off, its engines purring smoothly as it rose through the canopy and disappeared into the night sky, leaving only rustling leaves and a stunned mechanic in its wake. She looked down at the crystalline chip in her hand, then at the clearing where an impossible ship had been. The Galactic Emperor, she whispered, then laughed. And I charged him 500 credits. In the darkness of space above Earth, Ferret sat in his ancient ship and smiled. Humanity would be fine. Any species that could look at impossible technology and simply ask, does it turn on? Would do more than survive among the stars. They would thrive.